what is something that you hope to see kind of happen for a team? Like, who's a team that's been sitting on the fence who you look for? Who's a team? Because I know a couple of things that you've said that I think might be coming soon.
Okay. Couple things that I would...
Because the one thing I think might happen soon that it's looking bad is the Trashionals are last.
Yep.
So have mentioned...
Interesting. So very interesting that you're bringing this up. We were watching MLB Network. I want to say it was like 2 or 3 days ago.
Okay.
And they went on to that whole thing that we talked about with the Scherzer trade. They completely said everything we said, but they...
Remember, you heard it here first.
We heard it here first. But they were talking about other teams. I think we talked about the Angels with that. But they were talking about like the Yankees, maybe the A's, like people like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But like we did cover that.
They're going in the direction that we're thinking.
Yep.
But the team that I'd love to see it would be the Angels, because he's still Scherzer's still a really good player.
Yep.
Right, and he's not gonna. He doesn't have to go there and be who he used to be for the Nationals, but they just need some semblance of a pitcher.
Yeah.
And the Nationals.
I just don't know if the Angels actually have enough to trade for him.
What would you need for?
I don't know.
What would they actually want to get out from underneath some of the money that they're paying Scherzer right now?
So what I'm just gonna use what the MLB guys said.
Yeah.
They said that the way the Nationals would structure it would be kind of like a handshake deal, like Scherzer. Go. We're gonna trade you. We're gonna try and get some crazy return for you, and then next year you come back. We'll sign you for like a 1 or 2 year deal. We'll go win a World Series because whatever the heck we got is gonna be enough to push us over to the edge again.
Yeah. Which I immediately I think that if the Nationals told him that, they're lying to him.
I don't know, but I don't think the Angels have enough. That would be like, okay, like we can get like 2 or 3 pieces from you for Scherzer. That's like, yes, that changes our game.
That's just hard for me to imagine.
Well, who would you send?
The Mets traded away Kalenic for Cano, so maybe there's this. Maybe you can go out there. Who's the best minor league player that exists? Maybe you can get Scherzer for him.
Yeah,
and that's my thing. Like if you're the Angels at this point in time, like shoot your shot, man. Like trade away a couple of young dudes who you're not going to develop anyway.
Yeah.
Because who's the guy who replaced Pujols?
Walsh. Jared Walsh.
Isn't Walsh crushing the ball?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he has some crazy stats right now. Like I think because we were talking about like where's Rendon at, and he's hurt obviously. What is he doing? Yeah, he's batting .328 with 7 bombs, 41 hits, 16 runs, 29 ribbies.
So he's been
966 OPS.
He's been a stud, and he played well last year, which is what got to the point that Pujols was. So again, this goes back when Rendon comes back, they're gonna have a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. That
can absolutely kill the ball because Ohtani's now leading off because he's so damn fast.
Yep.
So like. That lineup 1 through 4 is going to be substantial, especially with Rendon being there.
Yeah.
So like then the question becomes, how do you push them over? I would trade away whatever I needed to get Scherzer for this year to make a run at the Angels going to a postseason, because then the hope is Scherzer we can sell you on staying in LA. Because if hey, we have you. Ohtani's become the truth. The Rendon's locked in. Trout's locked in. Walsh is looking like how old is Walsh?
Walsh is. What the heck does it
Used to be top of the line.
It is, right? What the heck? I want to see he's like.
He's 27.
27, yeah.
Right? So he's locked in his prime, ready to zone it up and be that guy.
Yep.
Like, Scherzer could. If I'm looking at that situation, why would Scherzer go back to the Nationals? What do they have that's better than the Angels? Offensively, like the Angels have a shot at this is the best offense in baseball.
On certain days, yes, when you have everybody locked in.
If Rendon's there, I don't know a team who has 4 guys who are that good.
Yeah.
The only team that's even remotely got a pairing for me that even scares me close is the Braves.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Freeman can mash.
Yeah.
Right? So
Freeman, Acuna, I don't know.
Well, again, I just put in it Acuna and Freeman is who I'm even talking about. Like, those two together are really, really good hitters.
Yeah.
You have 4 of those guys. Like, if you're a pitcher, you're going to get runs.
Yeah.
And, like, then Ohtani stuff plays up, and we've been talking about it. So, like, I think that a Scherzer trade is definitely on the books if they continue to struggle. And I think everybody in the whole division is now looking at it like the Mets look like they're running at 60% capacity, and they're running away with the division already.
Yep. And that's the thing, and a lot of people have been talking about is that yes, they're already playing pretty well. They have guys coming back. Nimmo's coming back soon, and then on top of that, you're gonna get Carrasco, Syndergaard. Like all of a sudden, everyone's gonna be like, all right, the Mets are good. Like we have to fight with them a little bit, and then all of a sudden they're gonna kind of strong arm them
because the bullpen for them has been great, but
so good. Oh my god!
And that again opens up for me just like looking at it and saying how do the Nationals hold on to old man Scherzer? When you really should just move him to a team that's looking to go. Now, if you're Scherzer, do you want to win a ring?
I mean, I'd imagine.
So if you're trying to get another ring on your finger, then I think it comes down to who would be willing to put it, who's going to be that team at that time,
right?
Who has the ability to do it. But again, a strange team that's going to end up being a dark horse candidate to do some stuff might end up being these Cleveland Indians, because if you keep winning, right, and you keep doing it, balance out your roster and put together what you're going to have and go win a division. Yeah. And is there a top-line starter who's got a little bit left?
If Scherzer went to the Indians, that pitching rotation is immediately ridiculous.
And that's what I'm saying. Ridiculous. Like, they look like they're scoring enough. The pitching staff is there. The Cubs losing to them was a big deal for the Cubbies, too. Yeah. Because they're now 2 games under 500. We're coming up on 40 games into the season. Chris
Bryant just got hurt, actually.
So we're coming into 40 games into the season. Like, and again, Chris Bryant getting hurt is probably the worst thing that could happen to them. Yep. Because if you're going to be bad, you want to trade Chris Bryant to be bad. Yep. And get the pieces for him. But if he's hurt, you can't move him. Now you're stuck in this no man's land of not only are we not going to win anything this year, but we can't even move assets to try to acquire anything.
And just a hit by a pitch, little wrist contusion, so nothing
crazy.
Lasting, yeah.
And he's batting .308 with 9 home runs. Like
he's having a year.
He is $17 million right now. I think is the number that he has. Yeah. So I think he was $17 million. He's a guy who, if the Cubs aren't winning, is he going to get moved? Because did they want to pay him next year $35 million?
Probably not. I think they're.
What's he going to ask for? Is a third baseman who's going to bop 35 plus home runs?
Yeah. The trade deadline's going to be
frisky this year.
Oh, my God. We're going to have to do a couple episodes on trade deadline.
That's why I'm saying right now it's kind of like.
There's going to be shortstops moving all over the place, big-name pitchers, third baseman.
Do you think a lot of shortstops get moved?
Yes, absolutely.
Just because they're like, we're not going to be able to re-sign them?
I want to say at least 2 big-name guys. I could actually see the Cubs moving Javi. Because he's going to be expensive. I don't know if they're going to, maybe they try to go re-sign him and not KB. I think the Rockies, without a doubt, are moving Story. I don't know where. It could be. I don't think it's going to be the Yankees, and a lot of people were saying that. I think the Yankees are going to go after Seager in the offseason. But I would say at least 2 guys, for sure.
If they go after Seager, where does Glaber go?
Glaber swings over to second or third or some other team. Is he traded? He might be in that trade.
That is wild. Yeah. That you even say that. And a year and a half ago, Jay Schaap and a whole bunch of other Yankee fans are like, this dude is going to be MVP of the league. Yeah. And we went from this guy's MVP of the league of, we would include him for a dude. Like, wow. Yeah. Like, wow. And I actually love that trade if they could make that happen for the Dodgers. Yeah. Because that would make them cheap again at shortstop, not lose so much that it's debilitating to what's already a fantastic team, and you get to reset your financial structure overnight. Yep. And not lose too much. That's actually really interesting. I wish teams did stuff like that more often.
I don't know what because they just re-signed Justin Turner, right?
Right, but Justin Turner, then you go on top of the fact that they just gave $40 million to Bauer. Right?
$34 million for 2 years. So here's another interesting thing. If Seager's going to be more than just Glaber straight up, maybe it's Glaber and Uhar, and then they have their backup third baseman for when Turner's done the following season, and then he's probably pretty cheap too, and then you're back to this cheap left side of the infield, and you can kind of work with that. And they're also very young.
What's the deal with Bo Bichette?
Bo Bichette's going to be in Toronto for a while. He's probably still on his rookie deal, whatever control they have over him right now.
He wasn't a rookie last year, though, was he?
No. I think that was his second year.
So this is year 3.
Yeah.
So he starts coming into. He's got 3 years after this. That's another thing. Like that team looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Could they be a team that goes after somebody else?
Yeah.
Because they've already spent a bunch of money, and if their guys are turning up and
totally forgot. Carlos Correa is a free agent as well.
And Correa, I think is gonna struggle on the market.
Yeah, he's an interesting one because talent, he's there, but I think there's a lot of other things that teams might shy away from from his like issues around the league.
Yep.
And I know just based on what Houston already offered him, I think it was like 6 years, 180 or something like that, probably less, 160 maybe, and he laughed in their face at that number.
And that's the thing is I don't know, like now looking back at him laughing, like when's the last time he was good?
I mean, listen, he's won a World Series, like
but you gotta throw that stuff away, right?
Number wise, it probably doesn't show how good
in
he
his last
is.
4 years from an OPS standpoint. We've got this year at 725, last year at 709, then 926, which was a great year in 2019, and then 728 in 2018. So when we really this is also like the thing that like teams and people and guys have to think about with a guy like Tatis.
Yep.
Is like Correa was Tatis. And he let me crush the ball everywhere, got big power, I'm young, I'm exciting. But that was all you ever were. You didn't grow. There wasn't progression.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of regression because you get bored.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a guy who like can't get better, or he's always been this good naturally, is he still working to push the needle forward?
That's why I think he probably just wants out of Houston, honestly. Go to a new place, fresh start, maybe go to a team that's not as good or not as much of a contender and kind of I don't know.
But if you go to a team that's not as much of a contender, what are you signing for?
But maybe it's like a team that kind of has a lot of young pieces and just hasn't like figured it out yet. I don't know.
So like the Mariners.
That actually was a thought I had. I don't know. Honestly, they probably couldn't afford whatever he's going to ask for in all reality.
I feel like Seattle's got money. If they wanted to.
But that's where I say like I think it's kind of like you know what? Maybe they might be more of spenders than the Rays. But we're kind of saying that. I'd say imagine they're like the same level. But I can see them being more spenders
I feel like
than the Rays.
Mariners get a better turnout. I feel like they make more money off the team. They have more of the other things that help them fund where they're going to grow.
Right.
And then there's a lot of money over there. You know, and you and I have talked. That's a team that potentially could get bought in the not too distant future. Like there could be an ownership change that happens over there, and there's some guys who live in that area who have a lot of money, who also own other sports teams and are willing to put a lot of money into them. So I'd be curious to find out. But they're a team that, like we were just saying, they're going to be very, very young, and they might be one or two guys who can really know the league, will consistently perform at an MLB level.
Yeah.
You know, you're that far away from, okay, now we can make some playoffs, so we can do some stuff.
Especially if you bring in a guy like Correa who has World Series experience and kind of be like a leader there and do that whole thing. Could be interesting. Definitely looking forward to the trade deadline. I think there's going to be a lot of cool stuff. I hope the Mets make moves too, but I actually don't think we'll really need to be honest with you.
Don't know if that's going to be in the cards at this point.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we appreciate you guys listening to us today. Thank you for coming out. Again, remember, like and subscribe below, but also let us know who you think is on the move at the trade deadline. What places would you like to see some veterans and some players get moved to? And who's a dark horse candidate to make the playoffs, make some noise, and maybe make a wild move at the trade deadline?
Yeah, we'll be there very soon.
Baseball lifestyle, it's my lifestyle. Baseball lifestyle, it's my lifestyle.